Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So good to see you guys. Come on in. Come on in. How are you guys this morning? Good morning. How are you? Good morning. Come on in. This is Entrepreneur Monday. Or not Monday, mornings. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. 7 a.m. on a Wednesday. We are here doing this. This is Entrepreneur Mornings. This is Entrepreneur Mornings. Good morning, everybody. I am going to check in to see if I can see the time. Y'all, I want to stay on time. Good morning. Welcome to Entrepreneur Mornings. Good morning. Good morning. I did a quick post about it last night or either the day before, who knows. But we're going to go through some biblical Bible-based scriptures this morning that support entrepreneurs. We're going to be doing this for about 30 minutes. Give me 1 second because I want to make sure that I stay true to time. Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. Good morning, everybody. So happy to see you. It's been a blessed morning already, right? It's already 7 a.m. and we're getting started on this Wednesday into our hump day. And so I'll go ahead and introduce myself. So I am Fatima, and I'm affectionately known as a voice catalyst. And I'm very passionate about helping everyday leaders as well as purpose-driven entrepreneurs to own and use their voice to advocate for themselves and others. Okay, so that can be via impact and income. That can be in creating other opportunities. It can be about creating healthy boundaries. That's what I do. That's what my company does. Okay. Also, one of the things professionally, I am a project manager. So essentially, I move people and brands forward. And I have a company that is uniquely designed to help to move entrepreneurs forward. This is specifically for entrepreneurs, whether you are desiring to start or grow your business. This is an opportunity for you to just hear some faith-based principles. And the reason why I've decided to put it as faith-based and Bible-based is because being an entrepreneur means that you are deciding to go to the next level. Hey, China. It means that you are deciding to go to the next level. Oh, is my camera off? Let me see. I got some feedback on my camera, y'all. Okay. All right. We're going to try it this way. So the reason that we decided to, as an entrepreneur, you essentially want to be able to rise to the next level. And in order to do that, you actually need to have, at least for me, I need to have something that holds me up higher than the actual thing that I'm trying to do myself. You need courage. And what courage means is you literally are doing something that frightens you. And I firmly believe that courage can transform individuals, businesses, as well as communities. And so if you're going to be thank you, China, if you're going to be an actual entrepreneur, then it's necessary for you to also be sure that you are grounded in what it is that you're actually going to be doing, and you have a power or a being that's higher than yourself to keep you stable and grounded. It is a journey that is not for most, but for the few that it is for, it's one that is it is something that is destined for you. And you have to be around like community, like people, and like words and information in order to keep your motivation towards being an entrepreneur. I think being an entrepreneur is fun, but it does have its areas where you need to really rely on a strength stronger than yourself. So that's really where we came to Entrepreneur Mondays, where I'm doing this on every Friday and Wednesday for the month of October. So we're going to test it out and see how it goes. But ultimately, again, this is really just about bringing Bible-based principles so that you can take them with you in your entrepreneurship journey, whether you are starting as an entrepreneur, whether you are looking to grow your following and grow your business. All right, so a couple of disclaimers before we get started. And I have my notes, guys, and I have my Bible down here. So you're going to see me look down from time to time. Doesn't mean that I'm ignoring you. I'm just looking down to make sure that we get all the information correctly. So a few things. I am not a pastor, and I did not go to seminary. I didn't do any of that. This is me just inviting you to what my morning practice typically is, and giving you the invitation to join me, okay? This is my interpretation. This is not something that has been stamped by anyone else other than myself and God. And to me and God are the majority, okay? So again, this is going to be from 7 to 7:30. We might wrap up a little bit sooner or a little bit later, but Monday through Wednesday around this time in the month of October is what we're actually going to do. So first, we're going to go into word with Exodus. And our word is going to be through Exodus today, Exodus chapter 3, 1 through 20. And really, this topic is what happens after you have received the vision. What happens after you have received the vision? I'm going to go ahead and, hi, La Carla. I'm going to go ahead and do a prayer before we get started with our entrepreneur motivation. And the main thing is, so bow your head, close your eyes if you can, if you are getting the kids ready, if you are taking your kids to school, if you're already getting dressed, if whatever it is that you're doing, if you have me in your car and you're driving, obviously don't stop driving. Let me just be the background noise. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me say a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for waking us up this morning. Thank you so much for allowing us to breathe new breath into our body. Just is the breath, Father, is just the evidence of your glory and your graciousness. I pray, Father, that you allow me to deliver what you would have me to say, and allow the word and the information that I have to transcend and to impact those who need to hear it. Father, I thank you that you and I are the majority, and I pray that those who are on this line, who can see and hear and who listen to the playback, Father, also recognize that you and them are also the majority, and they can conquer anything that they have in their lives. In Jesus' name. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and pop in. I am going to be reading from this Bible. It is a chronological Bible. It's NIV. Hello. Good morning. Come on in. Come on in. We are starting Entrepreneur Mondays. Come on in. So we're reading from this Bible. It's a chronological Bible, and essentially it helps me to actually understand and digest the Bible. If you've raised as an old Baptist, sometimes you don't understand what they're saying. So I needed something to help break it down, and this is the NIV version. Okay, so I'm going to read, and we're going to do some interpretations in between. So here we go. One day Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. There was an angel of the Lord who appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of the bush. Moses stared in amazement. Though the bush was engulfed in flames, it didn't burn up. This is amazing, Moses said to himself. Why isn't the bush burning up? I must go see it. When the Lord saw Moses was coming to take a closer look, God called to him from the middle of the bush. Moses, Moses. Here I am, Moses replied. Do not come any closer, the Lord warned. Take off your sandals, for I am standing on holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac. Hi, welcome, come on in. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. When Moses heard this, he uncovered his face because he was afraid to look at God. This is Entrepreneur Mornings for those who just joined, and I am in Exodus. We're going to be here till about 7:30. So one of the things as I read into this Exodus, I want to just play this back. If you heard this story, right? So Moses was, if you know, have any context, Moses is the one who essentially released the people of Israel into Egypt, right? They were being worked hard. They had slave masters. They were seen as the lowest of the low in where they were, okay? And now you have insert Moses, who's now here, and he has been called by God. So here I want to break this down. Moses was stewarding over his father's flock, right? In the very beginning, he was stewarding over his father's flock, who is Jethro. And essentially, Jethro is his father-in-law's flock. And what I want to call out here is make sure you are looking at whose flock you are stewarding. Okay, in current times, whose job are you? Are you an employee? And who is it that you're actually working for and working on and working with? Who are you actually helping to produce their crops right now? It could be, to me, I take this as an employee mentality. And it's one of those things. There's nothing wrong with that, because it is important for you to serve today where you will actually leave tomorrow. And there's nothing wrong with that. But look at who you are actually tending to now. Whose flock are you tending to now? And are you doing it in excellence? Even if you don't want to be there, even if you decided to do something different, whose flock are you tending? So we find Moses tending to someone else's flock, okay? And then we look at Exodus 3:2. So the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire. Moses stared in amazement and was curious. Every entrepreneur needs curiosity, right? You're never satisfied with the status quo. He said, I must go see it. One of the things I want to call out here, especially as entrepreneurs, if you're deciding to start your business or grow your business, having your personal and intimate time with God is something that is absolutely necessary, because he's going to give you the tools, the strategy, the mindset to take you higher. Now, this is dedicated for entrepreneurs, but really these principles can be applied to your life as well. So one thing that I want to call out here is that God will get your attention when you're alone. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Entrepreneur Mondays. God will get your attention when you are by yourself, to have a personal encounter with you. This is not where he's actually trying to show up in the midst of the full crowd and put on this whole charades and parades for you to get your attention. No, God will talk to you directly to you. He will see you in your room. He will see you in your bathroom. He will see you at your job. He will see you in your car. He will see you in I don't care where you are. He will find a way to have a personal encounter with you. So this is where we find Moses. The Lord appeared to him, and it was a blazing bush of fire, right? So that's something that is obviously doesn't normally happen. And as an entrepreneur and as a person, he was curious as to what this was, and it called him closer. The next piece that I want to pull out is when the Lord saw Moses coming, he called out to him, and Moses replied, "Here I am." When God calls out to you, how do you respond? Do you attempt to ignore like you didn't hear it? Do you say yes, that you actually want to be there? What is your response to God's call? And essentially in this, we find that Moses says, "Here I am." Okay, he says, "Here I am." So he acknowledges God calls out to him, and then he reciprocates and acknowledges God. Now, one thing that I want to call out too is that if you've ever heard of Pastor Mike from Transformation Church, he is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he has a message that talks about the ways that God speaks. And so, and I highly recommend this sermon. But basically, God speaks through your dreams. He will speak through you through his voice, through angelic manifestation, your conscious, through other people, through written word, which is the Bible, through the living word, which is the Holy Spirit, signs, creation, and nature, and your conscious and media. So there's all these different avenues and ways. You don't have to just go to the Bible for God to speak to you, although it's something that's recommended. Every time that I read the Bible, it's one of my favorite books, not because I'm all holy and righteous. Trust me, I have my flaws, but it's because there's different things as I read different chapters. The word comes alive to me in a new way. Have you ever been in a position where the songs you listened to back when you were a teen, 15, 12, whatever, and you listen to them when you get older and you recognize that it has a different context and a completely different meaning? I'm a 90s baby. Well, excuse me, I'm an 89 baby, so I grew up in the 90s. But one of the things that I listen to these songs, I'm like, dang, I was listening to all of that back then. And when I listen to it now, I recognize it has a completely different context. That's the same thing in the way that I view the Bible. You can read it once, the same scripture, and then you go back a year or even a couple months, even a couple days later, and the words will read to you a lot different, giving you the wisdom to move forward. Okay, so We're going to keep going. He says, take off your shoes, for you are walking on holy ground. This, in my interpretation, is don't bring your outside stuff in here. There's so much stuff on the bottom of our shoes. We walk through tons of dirt, tons of germs. But the way that I'm translating this is essentially don't bring your insecurities, don't bring your fear, don't bring your doubt. Although God has no problem with us bringing all of that to him, I think he wants us to recognize that you're on holy ground. You are already made perfect. He made us perfect in his image. So all of these things that we have with being overwhelmed, being insecure, with wanting to people please, seeking validation, wanting to have a certain amount of income, a certain amount of impact, all of those things are things that society added to us as we continue to grow older. That's all it is. That's all those things were. So I think he wanted us to leave those things there and recognize that there's a distinction between the dirt and the things that are not of him at the door before we walk in. Now, if we happen to walk in and bring them with us, God will purify and cleanse us, but that's a whole nother thing for another day. All right, he also calls out, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob. He basically announces his authority. If you guys remember, Abraham is the one who had, where Sarah had the baby, and she was in her old age. That was a miracle. If you remember Isaac and Rebekah, they were very wealthy. If you remember Jacob, he is actually the father of Joseph. And Joseph, if you know the story, from the pit to the palace, his brother sold him into slavery, and he ended up being one of the highest ranking people years down the road. And God was supporting him. So he's basically, God is saying, I'm the God of all three of them from all those previous generations. I'm the one that did that. So he's announcing his authority. He's reading his resume. He's calling out his receipts is what I like to say. All right, let's keep reading. We are in Exodus, and if you want to follow along with me, we are in Exodus chapter 3, verses 7. Okay? All right. Hold on, y'all. I lost my spot. Bear with me. Okay. So the Lord told him, I have certainly seen the oppression of my people in Egypt, and have heard their cries of distress because of their harsh slave drivers. Yes, I am aware of their suffering, so I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and lead them out of Egypt into their own fertile and spacious land. It is flowing with milk and honey, the land where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites now live. Look, the people of Israel has reached out to me, and I have seen how harsh the Egyptians abuse them. Now go, for I am sending you to Pharaoh. You must lead my people out of Egypt. But Moses protested to God. Oh, this is good, y'all. Who am I to appear before Pharaoh? Who am I to lead the people out of Israel, or the people of Israel out of Egypt? God answered, I will be with you, and this is your sign, that I am the one who has sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God at this very mountain. But Moses protested again. If I go to the people of Israel and tell them the God of your ancestors has sent me to you, they will ask me, what is his name? Then what should I tell them? God replied to Moses, I am who I am. Okay, that's all you need to say. I am who I am. Okay, God. Say this to the people of Israel. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, say this to the people of Israel. Yahweh, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, I already told you about them. The God of Isaac, I already told you. And the God of Jacob, I already told you who that is, has sent me to you. All right, let's break this down a little bit. He says, I've heard the cries and I'm aware of their suffering. So much is happening in the world today. Let's go ahead and just pretend like, not even pretend, we can look, if we take this out of the context, hi, welcome to Entrepreneur Mondays. If we take this from the context of where we are in faith-based or in the Bible, we can look at, in this text, there's a lot of people who are actually suffering in the Bible right now. But we can take this into the current context. We know that we're dealing with race relations. We know we're dealing with COVID. We know we're dealing with family craziness. We know we're dealing with relationships, businesses. There's so many things that are happening that unfortunately could be better, but they're not. And so there's a lot of suffering that that's currently present right now. Not that there aren't happy moments and happy days and happy experiences, but there is a lot happening. If you just turn on the news, you will see that there's a lot. And so what we see here is that God has a plan to bring those people and those things from suffering to our own fertile and spacious land. This is really important. This is so important. If you are in a space of suffering, especially as an entrepreneur who desires to either start or grow your business, and we look around us today and we see all of these things happening, and we see in this word, in this text, that God is saying that he will take the people from Israel. He's heard their suffering, and he will move them into fertile and spacious land. What this means is that God intended for you to have fertile land. When you have fertile land, you can produce. This does not just speak to property, and this does not just speak to having an entire opportunity to like grow seeds. This speaks to well beyond that. This is wealth building. This is family and generational building. This is building your business. This is building your health. He will give you fertile and spacious land. Any seed that you plant on fertile and spacious land will grow. It's a producer's mentality, okay? It's a producer's mentality. Hold on, guys. I'm going to do a quick time check. Okay. So we'll wrap up here shortly. So I also want to call out Moses protested. Who am I to appear to Pharaoh? So who am I to lead Israel's people out of Egypt? How many times have you doubted who you are to actually start your business? Who are you? How many times have you decided that, you know what, I don't know if I can do this? For Moses, we know that we believe he had a stuttering problem. And he's the one that's supposed to speak to Pharaoh to say, let my people go. He came with a deficiency in his eyes. He came with an insecurity. This makes it clear to me that he didn't know who or whose he was. Okay? And how many times have you decided that you didn't know? Or how many times have you spoken against yourself about what it is that God actually wants you to do or has called you to do? And you said, who am I to do this? So consider that, okay? So God's answer is simple. He said, I will be with you. And his sign is to worship God at a mountain. God wants to praise because he already knows what his plan is. God already knows. He said, look, God answered, I will be with you. And I want you to worship me at this mountain that we're here at right now. I want you to worship me at this mountain. You go to this mountain. God already knows the plan. He's just giving you a heads up of what it is. And he's already telling you, I want you to have my praise ready after I deliver exactly what it is that I'm calling you to do. All right. He also says, I am who I am. This is big. He just said, I am who I am. Have you guys seen that? They were like, I said what I said. This is my version of it. God said, I am who I am. Tell them I am the God of your ancestors. And again, he wrote off his resume. I am the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob. So he's continuously giving us his resume of what he's already done, where he's been. Finally, we're going to wrap up here. God essentially proceeds to give Moses the plan. He tells him that I want you to, number one, I want you to go to the elders and let them know what he's going to do. He says, 2, the elders will accept your message. 3, you and the elders go to Egypt and tell them that they must leave. 4, the king will reject. 5, God will perform miracles to strike the Egyptians. 6, then they will let you go. 7, and I will cause the Egyptians to look favorably on you. 8, you will dress your sons and your daughters in fine silver and gold, and you will ask the Egyptians for it, stripping the Egyptians of their wealth. God gave the plan. He ran the play. And he told all of this. And the reason why he supports us and does these miracles in advance and tells you exactly what it is that he's going to do is because he wants you to give him the praise and the glory once it actually happens. It's really us and our lack of trust and our lack of faith to think that he can actually do it. But it's already done, and he's going to run the play, and he's very detail oriented on how he's going to make it happen. So I will wrap up by saying, have you heard God's vision for your life, and also understanding what your call is as an entrepreneur? And if you haven't, how many times have you been in a place that God has given you something to do, but you haven't done it? Have you been in a place of trying to recognize what he's actually told you? How many times has he had to say the same thing? How long will it be before you actually say yes? Our point here is that we want to support. My goal, my whole goal with even doing this is pulling out entrepreneur principles and connecting them back to entrepreneurship, because I firmly again believe that it takes courage to be an entrepreneur. And I believe courage, which does mean something that you do, that frightens you. I believe courage can transform individuals, businesses, and communities. And so it's not you playing, it's not you actually playing. Welcome. We're at Entrepreneur Mondays. It's not okay for you to play small. If God has called you towards something, to start your business or to grow your business, it's one of those things like God will give you the vision for it. But how many times do we find excuses and ways to get out of what he's already called us to do, as opposed to saying yes and trusting him despite our insecurities, despite our fear? Okay, so I really hope that you enjoyed our reading today. We went over Exodus chapter 3, verses 1 through 20. And this is Entrepreneur Mondays. We'll be doing it from Wednesday through Friday in the month of October from 7 to 7:30. I firmly believe in starting your day off with the word and being grounded in your foundation. And as I mentioned, my company is really designed to help move you forward as an entrepreneur. And I mentioned that I have an opportunity for you to connect further with me, because I certainly would love to do so. And I'm actually going to post it here in the chat. Ooh, if I can. Hold on. Ooh, y'all, is it gonna drop? If I go to my email, is it gonna drop me? I think it's gonna drop me. Okay, I'm gonna repost this and I'm gonna put it in my description. We'll do that because I don't want it to just randomly disconnect. But essentially, I hope that you took in some lessons that we have today. We'll be back again. I'll be back here on Friday, 7 to 7:30 with some more information, some more Bible-based entrepreneur mindset principles to help you move yourself forward. And I am your voice catalyst, Fatima, and I am here specifically to support you. Things that I say set people and brands and things into motion, okay? So I'm so happy that I got a chance to spend some time with you. Again, we'll be back on Friday from 7 to 7:30. This is about entrepreneur principles and connecting them back to faith-based, Bible-based readings to support us in our journey. So see you guys later. Again, I am Fatima, and I will leave an opportunity for you and I to connect in the chat, okay? Or actually, I'll put it in the description because I don't want it to cut off. Hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, I'm going to send you some information. So good to see you. All right, take care and have a blessed day.